The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Our next story makes us think about what the world has in common. NFTs, of course, right? It doesn't matter if you speak English or Chinese. When it comes to NFTs, we're all speaking the same language. And as it turns out, asking the same question. Have a listen.
Is an NFT, still waiting on OG, and so patiently I drop my first one of one on OpenSea. The is an NFT, je crois les sons de fait.
Here to explain what the bleep are NFTs and tell us what he's doing with them and why is popular Hong Kong singer-songwriter and television personality Hanjin Tan. Welcome, Hanjin.
Hi, Michael, Emily, and Lawrence. How you guys doing? It's an honor to be here.
Doing well. Thanks for joining us. So tell us, what is your motivation for joining this NFT revolution? Why did you do this?
Well, I've been trying to solve this issue for the past 5 years, and that's the income gap in the Chinese music industry. And apparently, it's not just a Chinese problem. It's a global issue. According to American census, like 50% plus of musicians, professional musicians, make below minimum wage. That's not acceptable, right? But according to 220 Chinese consensus, 70% of professional musicians make $0 from music distribution, and that's totally unacceptable. Now, 90% of streaming income goes to the top 1% of musicians. What about the rest of the 99%? What they do, they're not complaining, but they're having a horrible time. So this is an issue that needs to be solved, and I could not solve it through like charity events or activities and whatnot until NFTs came to my attention, and I was like, wait a minute, this could be the answer. NFTs NFTs enable two things. One, they enable celebrities to make a quick crypto grab, but they also enable those who are disabled in the real world to create a more sustainable source of income. So through NFTs, we can create income for musicians through patron-musician relationships, and thereby reduce the income gap by raising the income floor in these the very disparate industries.
So it's kind of interesting because, as we know, China recently has taken a much stricter stance towards cryptocurrency. Yet at the same time, NFTs seem to be enjoying like a second boom there, right? I mean, in the US, we're seeing interest. It seems to be dwindling a little bit. In China, it seems to be exploding. Where do NFTs fit into the larger China crypto landscape? I mean, like, how do they fit into China's larger outlook on crypto? Because NFTs are also used for speculation and for making money. So.
Well, there's a simple explanation to that. Is the NFT boom happened 3 to 4 months ago. So when the NFT boomed, a lot of people must have gotten interested in it and starting new projects. And right about now is when all these projects are coming to maturity. They're ready for their TGE, they're ready for the IDO events, and they have to start marketing. So there's definitely going to be a sense of euphoria on the front. The other explanation is that I think some businesses and people are starting to see like this is viable as a bridge, either for marketing or for commerce. For me, it's great news because it means that I can evangelize my message far wider and harder. Like my first drop was essentially a demo on how musicians who don't even have MetaMask can just do the minimum and put out a single song and a Zoom call as an NFT, and that's for 7 ETH. So that worked. Now my second drop is to answer the question of people saying, "Oh, ETH is too expensive, the gas is too high, auctions are too scary." So I did a BSC drop with 77 copies at fixed price of 7 BNB per copy. So that got me about 540 BNB, I think, which was about 200K at that point in time. And this is my big lesson in crypto, really. I got into BNBs at $600 something, and I watched it drop to $200 something. So like, okay, so this is crypto, Hanjin. And that helps me understand also the space a lot more. And studying crypto over the past like 3 to 4 months has definitely allowed me to talk better and get with different platforms and companies and get them to understand what I'm trying to do and also help me understand what they're trying to do and create win-win situations where they can further their business goals and I can further my cause to help musicians and creators have a better life at least, or at least create some semblance of hope.
Hanjin, you're obviously a big name, but what about those smaller musicians? You know, you were talking about raising their income levels through the NFT process and creating a patron relationship with them. But the fact that you are a bigger name, you in many ways, are you taking a lot of that? Let's say, you know, are you sucking it dry from the rest of these smaller artists? And it's sort of a replication of what we're seeing right now with streaming services, where some of the bigger artists might not make a lot of money with streaming, but they make a lot of money with merchandise and everything else. Smaller artists can't make that kind of money touring and merchandise, etc. And it's just, and you have this massive bifurcation of the very top artists and the smaller artists. How do you see NFTs getting over that as well?
That's an awesome question, Lawrence. There are 4 major sources of income for any musician. 1, production. 2, well, in production, what used to be in the Chinese industry was like a single artist could put out 20 to 30 tracks a year. And now one track release is a cost for champagne popping and celebration. So basically, that's 96% down. And you're talking about gigs, like venues are not reopening after COVID. So like that's like I'm looking at a 50% down. You're talking about merch. Merch is not even a goal for Chinese musicians, because unless you're in K-pop, because that's the KOL territory. And in KOL territory, you're better off talking about food, fitness, fashion. Music is, yeah, there's no money there. And then lastly, because CDs are dead and MP3s are dead, we're looking at streaming, right? But in streaming, it doesn't trickle down. It stays at the top 1%, and the musicians who don't receive royalties, most of them, are having a really, really hard time. Now, what I did in the beginning when I first discovered NFTs was I started calling all my musician friends and associates, and I said, like, look, this NFT thing, get everybody in on it. This is gonna work for you guys. And nobody listened to me. So I was like, okay, I've got to do something. I've got to create a demo or something. So that's when I dropped my first one. And sure enough, I dropped my first one, and I started getting all these DMs from all the cold calls that I made that did not get any replies. And they're like, okay, how do we do this? So okay, and then I started hand-holding, right? But through this month of hand-holding, they're like, all these complaints like, oh, but ETH is so expensive, but like auctions are so scary, and we're famous artists. What if our NFTs bomb? That's going to be very bad for our brands. So like, look, you don't have to do an auction. You can do copies, you can do fixed price, you can do on a cheaper chain like BSC. And when I dropped on BSC, all these extra options came out on Tezos, on Near, on even on Solana now, and like it's just endless. And I'm seeing a space where, like, with so many possibilities, these guys should just talk to me. I'm basically open source, AMA anytime, and like, and I'll tell you everything I know, and hopefully
it sounds like
you make your first step. And first step is everything, because like no matter what you tell someone who doesn't have their first crypto wallet, that is going to be the hardest thing in their face. I've got hardcore fans who've been with me for years and will do anything, come out to any show, anywhere. It's been 3 months. They have not opened their MetaMask. That's how sad it is. That's how stubborn it is.